Ayo, what is up everybody? ASUS Samurai 7 here with another Project Zomboid video. And in today's video, we are starting the story of Shane Stevens, who is a retired carpenter that now spends his time running the local bar in town. How long do you think Shane Stevens will last? Make your guess down in the comments down below. One more thing before we get into the video, I will not be watching the daily shows to increase my levels. You'll see in the video, but after not being able to find a TV within the first couple of days, I just committed to the challenge. Anyway, without further ado, sit back, grab some popcorn, and let's get right into the video. The end of the world started while I was on my way to check up on the bar. It was supposed to be a packed house tonight, so the shelves were stocked full with all kinds of various alcohols. While cleaning around the counters, I found my car keys along with some cigarettes and a lighter in the shelves, which I went ahead and grabbed. When I walked outside, I realized I couldn't remember which of the cars was mine. I must have hit my head or something. I don't remember much of anything this morning. The second car was unlocked, but it still wasn't mine. The key wouldn't fit in the ignition. I noticed a car crash down the street, so I made my way over. And I realized one of the wrecked cars was mine. That explains the memory loss. I collected a screwdriver and an empty bottle from the trunk, and the other car key belonged to this zombie. I grabbed another bottle and screwdriver along with duct tape and alcohol wipes from this car. I made my way to the parking lot where I spotted some zombies. Equipping the screwdrivers to my belt, I was ready to fight. I really wanted to get out of this area and find a better place to base up. I went around looking for a car that had a key, but after checking another 4 in the parking lot, I was still empty-handed. The cars seemed in decent condition, so it was even worse that I couldn't find a key. After deciding to check the grocery store for loot, I instantly found a key. I went outside to check which car it belonged to. This one right here. Good condition overall, but now we needed gas. One of the zombies brought a watch over for me, so now I could tell the time. I looked around the store eating peanut butter and yogurt, checking to ensure things were safe. I stumbled upon a storage room stacked with all kinds of food and tools. I equipped a crowbar as my weapon for now, then found a sink to fill up my empty bottles. I didn't want to loot anything from here right away. It would just be a waste of time since I was hoping to skip town anyway. Well, maybe not skip town, but find another part of town that was at least a little bit better than this. All we needed was gas. Spotting a good-looking Jeep down the road, this could definitely have gas. Unfortunately, there was a plethora of dead to get through first. It looks like whoever was here was jumped just trying to change their tire. No gas. The car was locked, so I busted my way in, taking the duct tape, and then continued looking around for more vehicles. There was another one on top of this truck, but it seemed I can't reach it, so I continued onward, eventually stumbling upon a gas station. This was huge. There was definitely gas up here, but I need to get the car here first. Maybe I could fill up one of my bottles, but I think they were filled with water at the time, which I did not realize. There was another Jeep here. I promise I'm not sponsored by them. This one also had no gas, so I made my way inside in hopes to maybe find a gas can. I didn't find one in here, but I did find a map to the town, so now I can see what we're working with a little better. If you didn't know, I'm still pretty new to the game, so I'm not entirely familiar with all the locations around Knox. So if you have any tips, feel free to comment them down below. I ate a sandwich but left most of the stuff here since it was non-perishable. Before returning to the bar, I saw a herd guarding some other vehicles, so I chose not to interfere. I I didn't quite feel like going to bed yet, so I went into the farmer's market and did the smartest thing I have ever done. Knowing I wasn't going to be able to carry all the food in my car when I left, and that it would most likely spoil just sitting out here in the open, I grabbed all the perishables and stored them in the fridge. Hopefully this would keep them good for long enough. Then I went into the laundromat and assured it was cleared as well. Once back at the bar, I filled my urges by having a beer. Then I went to bed on the floor. It was the best I could do for now. The next morning, I scoped out the town more in depth, figuring out where to set up shop. I wasn't too sure, but this blue building seemed promising. It was pretty big and it looked like it might be 2 stories, but we won't be able to know until we go there. And we won't be able to go there until we find gasoline. So the search continues. I got lucky quickly today though and found a junkyard nearby that would hopefully have fuel. I started with the car on the outside, no fuel but an empty bottle. Then I jumped over the fence and checked the 2 trucks on the inside. One had a measly 5% in the tank. That wouldn't be enough to get going. The next couple of cars were empty, however, until I found a van with a 75% tank. Jackpot. I poured out the water bottles and filled them with gasoline. After that, I went searching around a little bit more and got lucky and found a gas can. So I also filled that with fuel. After returning to my vehicle, I filled it up with as much as I could, smoked a cigarette after, and then returned to the bar where I dismantled watches I've been collecting along the way. Then I started bringing my alcohol from inside to my car. I can't leave that behind. After the shelves were emptied, I took one last look at the bar, what I spent so many years building up and making it successful. All gone and there was nothing I could do about it. I had to get to a safer location. I had a few more stops before that though. First, to the grocery store. Where I grabbed food, tools, seeds, and also found a backpack. Once the food was in the car, I went back in to rip up clothing for ripped sheets, and we could find a needle we could start padding up our clothes. I was extremely tired by this point, so I decided to take shelter here for the night. I checked my map one last time before tomorrow to ensure I had a plan in mind. I wanted to drive up the road to check out the buildings up north, and then head back down to what I assumed was a school, but we'll see how that goes when the time comes and we are actually in action. Anyway, now it's time for sleep. I got an early start to the next morning. I found a pin yesterday, so I marked a couple things on my map, including a marker to remind me we have food stored here, and then drove towards the junkyard to get the rest of the gas. Now the area was cleared, I transferred the gas from the van to my car. Before I left though, I searched the rest of the cars, coming away with crafting materials, meds, but no more gas. So I started my journey to find a new goal. I checked the map one last time and set off. After taking the scenic route around town, I found myself at the school. This could be the perfect base location, but it would take some work to turn it into a home. I didn't want any windows to break, but once I realized the doors were locked, the zombies bursted through anyway. I checked out the Mini Coupe in the parking lot and the truck, with the latter being in perfect condition with almost a full tank of gas. While checking out the last car, I alerted a couple zombies to my location. I was really tired at this point from waking up so early, so I was barely doing any damage to the zombies. Once that group was taken care of, I returned to my car to sleep before trying to clear out the school. Before we go and do that though, if you're enjoying the video, consider leaving a like. It's quick to do and really helps out the channel. If you'd like to see more videos like this, go ahead and subscribe. Anyway, without further ado, let's get back into the video. Once I had caught up on my sleep, it was time to clear the school out. I wasn't too concerned about the loot around here, I'll get that all later. For now, I just wanted to be sure we wouldn't get jumped while sleeping inside. I eventually came across a nurse's office, so I took a break while reading some of the medical magazines stored inside. After the quick pit stop, I stumbled upon the kitchen, where a zombie was able to get me with a scratch. I bandaged up and started moving the perishables to the fridge so they wouldn't spoil. Hearing some banging on a door nearby, I looked around to find the source. After taking care of the dead, I smoked a cigarette to calm down. I made my way to the front door of the school where zombies had busted through the window. Not good. The crowbar was doing its job and the office was now cleared. The next room was a storage room, and then a teacher's room. Now that the bottom floor was entirely cleared out, it's time to move up. Up here was mainly just classrooms, but I did find a pistol in one of the dead. This storage room up here also had roof access. We might be able to do something up here in the future. When I walked back downstairs, a rogue zombie made their way in. So I took this as a sign and cleared around the building as well. I now felt a little safer, but once I had walked inside, I saw another had roamed in, which got me a little more nervous. Not wanting to rush just yet, I decided to move all the gear from the car, and after doing that for a little while, I went to sleep. The next day I started by laying out the guns I've accumulated so far, just 2. And then while I was doing a scan of the building, I noticed some Rugers had left their way in while I was asleep. Now that I knew no one would be sneaking up on me, I started dismantling desks from the classrooms to collect the wooden planks. I wanted at least one row of them on the bottom floor, especially on the broken windows. For now, I threw everything from inside the desk onto the floor. I'll look through it later, but right now I was just worried about being protected. I started by placing them on the inside, but after I figured a zombie could come by and break the window, I went on the outside so I could fight them off before they did. Thankfully, I'd also found a few boxes of nails. Then I started getting hungry, so I ate some stale food from the cafeteria and went back to work on another classroom. After the planks were gathered, I went back out, and when I got to the cafeteria, a group was banging on the glass. This was unfortunate since my inventory was filled with planks. I tried to drop them, but I couldn't do it quick enough, so I had to fight back with a full inventory. By the time I overcame them, 2 had busted through the glass. When I ran around the corner, I accidentally jumped through, cutting my hands on the broken shards. Even though I had an injury, I was able to kill the remaining threats and then bandaged up my hands. Noticing the scratch from earlier had disappeared, I felt a little hopeful. Before jumping back out, I removed the glass and then got back to work boarding up the windows. Once that set of planks was burnt through, I ate some pizza from the fridge and made my way into what I guess I'll call my room for now, and went to sleep. I woke up the next day by putting some patties in the stove for breakfast and grabbed some magazines out of the library while we waited for our meal. Once finished, I ate one and put the remaining 3 in the fridge. At this point, it occurred to me I hadn't started a finished books corner yet, so I read a magazine, which will be the beginning of the new pile. After that, I decided to get back to work boarding up the windows. While walking down the hall to go get more planks, I checked my hands from earlier and the cuts had now cleared up. After making a little more progress on the windows, I ate another patty from earlier and noticed another zombie had made their way inside. I went around grabbing all the magazines from inside the library. Some of these would teach me useful recipes, so I wanted to go ahead and read them. I sat down on the reading mat and got started. Once I was finished with them all, they were added to the finished books corner. I grabbed Electrician Volume 1 to start reading in my downtime, so I can dismantle watches and other electronics for more XP. But before I went to sleep, I read a comic to help with my depression, and got through the entire Electrician book. I was not expecting that, so I was going to go ahead and add it to the pile when a zombie caught my eye. A couple more were stationed in the gym. At this point, I was too tired to try to take them all on at once, and really just too confused at where they were coming in, so I went to sleep for now. The next day was started with a cigarette, and then I went to take care of the situation. Once done with that, I went around grabbing useful items from the classrooms. Anything I could read, eat, or use for building or repairing my tools. On my walk down the hall, I went to fill up my water bottles when I heard the scary sounds of the water getting ready to shut off. I had a few bottles saved up as well as a water cooler in the office. That should be enough for now until we can make rain collectors. Now finished with the electrician book, I needed a new one to start reading. I walked around the library looking for my next carpentry book so I could start reading it whenever. I then went to the kitchen for a bite to eat. While eating, I remembered I never finished cleaning out the car, so I went back out to the parking lot to continue doing so. After my first trip, apparently tons of zombies followed me back. They didn't have much on them, so I continued with clearing out the car. But I got sidetracked again and found a huge water bottle in the main office. So I placed it on the desk as to not forget about it. Which, as you know, I do a lot. When I was about to go back out to the car, I heard the helicopter making its way towards me. Thankfully, it caught me at a decent time, so I went to the bathroom of the teacher workroom and did some reading. Once the coast was clear, I went around the school clearing out the ones who found their way inside. Then I added the carpentry book to the pile, ate a beef patty for dinner, and then went to sleep. When I awoke, Shane Stevens had survived 7 days. If you would like to see more of the story, consider subscribing and turning on notifications to not miss out on a future video. I know, like me, a lot of my viewers are also new to the game, so if you haven't seen it already, I made a list of 10 mods that helped me get over the steep learning curve in the early game. That video is on the screen now if you'd like to check it out. Anyway, I've been ASUS Samurai 7, I hope you all enjoyed the video, and I'll see you all in the next one. Peace out.